Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Vivian Wangu. If you're seeing me for the first time, don't make it your last. This should be the channel you will be clicking on if you would love to see what it looks like behind the scenes of someone who has just won breast cancer fight. See, there are a lot of fights going on in this my Vivian small life, but breast cancer is one of them, which I have just won, and I'm so grateful. And I want to take you guys along. So 2024 ended not so well for me, and then very well for me in the aspect of it ended well on one side because we won against the fight against breast cancer. We won, and then I lost money. I don't want to spill too much about my family, but somehow drama happened. And firstly, I got my visa to the US, which I was very excited about, and I really wanted to visit my family, but I went and booked a flight to USA. I didn't book a return ticket, and I didn't know that I was supposed to book a return ticket because it might affect them admitting me into the US country. I don't know, but that was what I heard. Anyways, there was a little bit of drama in the whole process, so I decided not to just go ahead with it, and I lost the money because it was a non-flexible flight ticket. So this is your cue to be careful when you're booking flights. Try your best and spend that extra pound and make it a flexible flight, just so that when you are asking for a refund, you can actually get your refund. If not, you will lose money, because I lost almost 800 and something pounds, and that was my last 800 and something pounds in my account. I could have used it to pay my rent. I could have used it to pay my bills that were already affecting my credit score. I could have even sent it to my siblings. I mean, if I even sent it to my dad or my mom, they would have prayed for me. In fact, they will still be praying for me, even though they still pray for me. Anyways, so that happened, and that was my last try at trying to travel throughout 2024. While I was still going through the cancer treatment, I was doing my best to see if I can take a break and get away from UK. But it seemed like God didn't want me to go, because I booked a trip to Belgium. I got the visa, I booked my hotel, flight ticket, return ticket, everything. I ended up not going. I booked a trip to Scotland. I ended up not going. I booked a trip to Northern Ireland. I ended up not going. I booked a train trip to Manchester. I ended up not going. So trying to go to the US was the last one, and I still lost that money. So I just concluded that God just didn't want me to go anywhere else in 2024. God just wanted me to focus on my treatment, which I did, and it happened the way it happened. So if you don't know the story, I'm going to just give a rundown of what happened. So 2023, I found a lump in my breast, and by February 2024, I was officially diagnosed a breast cancer patient. It wasn't an easy thing for me to do, because when I was diagnosed, I was just filled with a whole lot of thoughts about what the prognosis was going to be. What will I expect? How will my family take it? What will happen to my job? I just had a whole lot of questions, and one of them majorly was about my siblings, because I was like, how will my siblings cope without me? Anyways, the journey had to start, and I had a whole lot of support from my friends. And the only part I found difficult was the fact that I couldn't have any family member come over. My sister was denied visa twice, so I didn't have that family touch, direct touch. Although I had friends who were more like family to me, who were always there for me whenever I needed them. If you would love to catch up on my journey, you can check me out on TikTok or check the YouTube shorts. You will see so many of my updates there. How I went through surgery. I had 2 surgeries. I had mastectomy and I had axillary clearance. So the mastectomy was the removal of one of my breasts, and then I had the axillary clearance, which was to remove the lymph nodes that were in my axilla, and when they were tested, some were infected, some weren't. So that led to the prescription of the kind of treatment I was going to get. So I had chemotherapy and I had radiotherapy. Chemotherapy I was prescribed 8 rounds of chemotherapy, right? But at the 6th round, it was stopped, because the chemotherapy treatment I was getting was more like preventive, to make sure that the cancer doesn't come back. And the chemotherapy journey was not easy, because at some point I landed in the hospital. So I think it was the 2nd or the 3rd cycle, I reacted so badly to it that I was vomiting blood. And I'm in so much pain, like I was screaming. And the funny part was, when I felt I was going to die, I called ambulance, and God, on my former YouTube, I posted about it. So I called the emergency ambulance, and the person on the phone told me I had to wait 3 hours before they would come and pick me up. If not for my dear friend AJ that came and picked me up within 6 minutes and took me to the hospital. And at the hospital, I was still throwing up blood, so they had to quickly triage me and put me on antibiotics and other things that they did, just to make sure that they start intervening well enough. But still in the hospital, and I'm a nurse, so I know that when a patient is dealing with a lot of things, including pain, then you have to treat pain first before anything else. But no, they started by giving me antibiotics instead of giving me morphine. It wasn't funny, but morphine came at last, and by then I had already finished shouting. I didn't even have strength to continue shouting anymore. So they gave me the morphine and I felt better. Anyways, I had to stay in the hospital for extra 2 days just for them to monitor me. Apparently, I was reacting to the medication injection. It's called filgrastim. And that injection is supposed to kind of force my body to produce white blood cells, because chemotherapy was killing off the white blood cells I had and was bringing down my immunity. So the filgrastim was to kind of force my bone marrow to produce more white blood cells to help my immunity withstand the effect of the chemotherapy treatment. So after that admission, I was discharged and I went back home and I continued my chemotherapy treatment. On the 6th one, my doctor said it was enough, we've had enough. So after chemotherapy, after 3 weeks, I had to go over to radiotherapy. Radiotherapy was kind of smooth sailing because, first of all, I had free transportation to the hospital, like free. NHS, I have to say thank you in this aspect, because they had to come pick me and drop me at home free of charge. I didn't pay nothing for transportation, and the distance from my house to where the hospital I was getting this radiotherapy treatment was very far. Other treatments had been in my hospital where I work, which meant that I lived close, but the radiotherapy treatment was not administered in my workplace, so it was quite a distance. It's like a different town, kind of. And NHS gave me free ride to and fro until my treatment was over. I had 15 sessions, so I was going to the hospital every day, and I had 15 sessions of radiotherapy, and it was free transportation. And this is the effect of the radiotherapy. As you can see, there is like a black map. It goes way inside, and this is like a treatment with radiation, right? So it's not invasive. I didn't even feel it, but at some point my skin started feeling tender. That was when I knew that actually they were burning up some cells. So this has its own side effects too. You know, in chemotherapy, the side effects were very evident, like nausea, vomiting of blood, obvious pain and all that. But radiotherapy, sometimes it might not be that physical. It might be inside. So at some point I was feeling some kind of pain around my chest, and this can also leave a scar in the lungs, you know. So it's not actually a risk-free treatment. It's actually a very damaging one if you are unlucky. But so far so good. There are no abnormalities in my treatment. So after radiotherapy, I was declared cancer-free. I'll try to put the video here so you see. So I was declared cancer-free, and that was the highlight of my 2024. That is how the whole treatment went, and I intend to carry you guys along as I continue, because the treatment isn't over. Yes, I'm cancer-free, but that doesn't mean that the treatments are over. Right now, I've been placed on, so immediately after chemotherapy treatment, I was placed on tablets, right? And now, after radiotherapy, I've been placed on another tablet. So I'm still taking tablets, chemotherapy in tablet form. So I'm going to take this tablet for, I'm going to take exemestane. I'm supposed to take the exemestane tablet for 5 years, and the abemaciclib, something like that, for 2 years. So I'm still going through treatment, but it's not as bad as it's supposed to be. And another thing is, I keep talking about how my life has been a miracle, because I tell you, even though I had some significant side effects, but I never looked like what I was dealing with, you know. And before I started my treatment, I prayed and said, God, please let this chemotherapy not be as scary as they've been talking about it. I want to go through this chemotherapy, and as I'm receiving it, I want it to feel like vitamins. And God answered my prayers, because as I was taking it, instead of looking sick and slimming down, I was eating like a pregnant woman. I was looking very healthy. And now on this emaciclib, I will put the name of the medication. So most of the reviews I've been seeing online, people are crying and talking about how it's affecting them. They're always dealing with nausea, vomiting, pain, all sorts of things. In fact, to be sincere, when I got these tablets and I went on YouTube and saw people's review, and some people are even having to stop the medication, I cried. I cried because I was like, I thought this battle was over, but seeing people complain about this medication, I was like, so I'm going to have to go through this too. And I said, God, please just help me, because I'm tired of all these things. And guess what? I've not had one side effect. I tell you, I've not had one. Apart from the fatigue, I've not had one. The only thing is I'm fighting my best I'm trying my best to make sure I stay away from anything that can cause me infection, because the medication is supposed to attack my white blood cells and reduce it. So I try to take the medications and try to protect myself from infections. But any of those nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, I'm getting none of those things. I'm telling you the honest truth. I'm on 150. I keep forgetting how to pronounce the medication, but I'm on 150 milligram of it, and no side effects whatsoever. I take my anti-sickness, I take my loperamide. So I'm not getting any of the side effects, and I keep saying, God, I don't know what I have done to deserve all this, but thank you. Thank you for who you are. So, and another thing I've started to do now is to rededicate my life to Christ. I've not done that officially in church, but I've started working on that. I went back to serving in church, trying to be involved in the building of church, and it's been fulfilling. I've been feeling like myself again. I've been feeling purposeful again. So yeah, I intend to take you guys along with me as I progress and share my journey with you. We don't know where I don't know where my life is headed, actually. But my pastor mentioned something. He said, Vivian, you're going to be surprised what God is going to do in the next 3 months. And I trust him, because this same pastor was the one that prophesied when I was in Northern Cyprus. There was one period I was going through a lot, like a lot. Financially, I didn't even have kobo in my account, and I needed to pay my rent. And if you live in North Cyprus, you know that these people literally charge everything in pounds and euros. So I didn't have any money. And that night, my pastor was on Instagram Live, and he was like, by then he didn't even know me one-on-one. Now that I work officially in a leadership capacity in church, he knows me. But before then, he didn't know me. And on this day, he said, you're wearing green top and trouser. God wants you to know that he has settled your case. He's about to surprise you. And guess what? And when I heard that, I was like, oh God, I'm the one. Thank you, Jesus. And guess what? Within a few days, I received $1,000 from my uncle. I had asked for this money in the past and I was dismissed. So I wasn't even hoping for it. I had given up on it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what my next step was going to be. And in fact, at that point, I think I was considering going back to Nigeria. And my uncle just sent me money and told me that he had sent me $1,000. I was so surprised. So he is one trusted man of God that I know, and I choose to follow his leading every time. When I say I have pastors, he is one person that I call that pastor, my spiritual father. So yeah, I am super excited and I'm proud to be working in God's vineyard again, because one thing I noticed is whenever I'm serving in church, God does tremendous things for me. Yeah, so follow me on this journey and let's see what the future holds. Okay, I'll see you. Ciao.